panel. Welcome those of you who've just joined us as you've come up the stairs. My name's Lovelda Vincenzi. Welcome to what might be seen as slightly different, but it's okay. We're about to have some fun here talking about cities. So in this panel, we're going to dive into the fundamental question: what truly constitutes a sustainable building? It involves the development of new constructions. It also looks at what's efficient and environmentally friendly, but also what contributes to the overall well-being of people. Joining me to have this discussion, we've got the CEO of Tarkett, Fabrice Barthélemy, and we've also got the Deputy CEO of Leroy, Merlin, Simunic. Please join me on stage. Hello. Take a seat. Hello, hello, welcome.
Thank you.
Marie, I'm going to start with you because those of us who are based in France, I say those of us as if I'm one of those. I'm not, I'm based in London. But for those of you who are based in France, you're probably very, very familiar with Leroy Merlin. For those who aren't, can you maybe tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
So for those who don't know us, we are in France the leader of home improvement with 144 stores and a website, the first website for home improvement. And in fact, we have around 20% of French people that are visiting either our stores or our website to get solutions, and we will see more and more sustainable ones to renovate the house.
Fantastic. So we'll come back to what some of your sustainable solutions are. Fabrice, for people who haven't heard about Tarkett, can you tell us a little bit more?
Tarkett is a family-owned company, a global one, with about 3 billion in sales and 12,000 employees. And we are specialized in making sustainable flooring for commercial and residential buildings, such as workplace, hospitals, universities, colleges. And we're also a specialist in sports surfaces, outdoor sports surfaces, such as artificial turf or running tracks.
Fantastic. So now that we've got context, we're here to talk about retrofitting in particular. Marie, you're helping with home improvement, and it's not, our minds don't necessarily go to retrofitting when we think of your business. So can you tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing that's helping people with retrofitting buildings?
Yeah, in fact, we are on the renovation market for exactly 100 years now, because our company has 100 years this year. It's our birthday. And we help people to renovate their houses. We are in B2C market and mainly in DIY, so we give solutions either with product, and mainly people come to visit our stores to find product, and we try to make it more and more sustainable, repairable with recycled material. So we have a deep program with our suppliers to find new solutions, to co-invest also, to have the capacity, the ability to find new solutions. And we are mainly engaged in a battle which is energetic renovation, because we will have the occasion to go deeper in the subject. But for sure, it's a huge subject for people to renovate their house and find an easy, simple solution to do it.
I mean, when you say it like that, it makes sense. We think of retrofitting as let's go in, take an old warehouse and repurpose that warehouse so that we create homes. But it's also let's go into existing homes and make them more efficient energy-wise. And in the current landscape, we could see how they would definitely be the forefront of consumers' minds. Fabrice, can you tell us a little bit more about the work that you're doing around retrofitting in particular, as opposed to new materials?
Yeah, it's nearly the same, actually. We are a manufacturing company. We are a supplier of Marie's suppliers. And you might think, because we are a manufacturing company, that we make new homes and new buildings and so on. Actually, 80% of what we do is about refurbishing or retrofitting existing buildings. And that's in all sectors, whether it is sports or commercial, hospitals, offices. It's all about renovation.
So we've been using this word retrofitting and renovation almost interchangeably. So I want to take a few steps back to make sure we're all on the same page. What do we mean when we say retrofitting? What does that cover? What sort of materials, products, approaches, Fabrice, are covered when we use that term retrofitting?
Well, I think when we use retrofitting, we mean also improving as well as we renovate, but renovation with a certain level of improvement, whether it is in terms of material we use, the sustainability content of these materials, whether it is in terms of design or performance. Retrofitting is all about that.
Improving the design. Do you agree, Marie?
Yes, in fact, when you talk about retrofitting, at the end, it's often a matter of energy. But to do it, you have to pass through different steps. First, you have to be sure that your house is isolating. Then, to have good ventilation, to have a good air atmosphere. Then, to be sure to have the good way of heating it. And we know that there is more and more sustainable solutions to do that. And at the end, if you want to well renovate, you have to produce sustainable energy and to pilot it. And we have now a lot of solutions, from insulation to smart connected product, that allows people to first have a good renovation and at the end be able to pilot with data, with intelligence, all their product at home.
Fabrice, you mentioned earlier that this is about improving buildings. Yeah. So it kind of gets me thinking, what were people doing before? You know, you're in this space, we think, what happens if we're not improving? What's the alternative? What were people doing instead?
Well, people have to renovate at some point. Because, say, in an office space, for example, you change tenant, the space will be totally rearranged and repurposed, and there's no real alternative to renovation. But what we try to do is that as we bring new material for renovation, we try to achieve two goals. One is to bring better materials than the one we take out. For example, in terms of acoustic performance, sound insulation, better design, or materials better fit for the purpose. If you are around your coffee machine, you don't want carpet tiles that will be soiled after a few weeks. You want nice tiles that will be easy to clean, for example. And by doing that, we want also to take care of material we take out, actually, which is a big problem. You heard Elena before. She mentioned that 30% of the waste globally is produced by the construction industry at large. So that's also a very important point we want to address.
So it's not, we need something that's functional and going to fit the purpose. We want to think about better materials in terms of the environmental impact. But we also need to think about what we're doing with the materials that we're taking out of the building.
Absolutely.
And from a consumer perspective, Marie, when people are coming in, is there a demand from people? Are they thinking now more about the insulation of their homes and wanting to make different choices? Or are they just looking for the thing that's going to be cheapest and easiest to implement?
In fact, both. First, people want to save money. The first criteria when they choose a product or solutions is to understand how they can make economy first, and more and more people are aware and concerned about the sustainability. So we try to propose solutions that combine both, to say you have not to choose either on price or on quality and sustainability. We are now, with our suppliers and our partners, able to propose solutions that combine both and to be affordable and sustainable, either on products, and as Fabrice told, we work with Tarkett and we work with our suppliers on research and development to find new materials, but not very expensive ones. But we also, regarding the energetic renovation, with the financing approach, to find solutions and to help people not to have to choose between quality, sustainability, and price.
I think regardless of whether it's a consumer or whether it's B2B, the question of price is always there, right, Fabrice?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We are more B2B actually than B2C. I mean, Barry is doing that B2C part for us, but we find that price is always part of the equation, and it's a problem for us because sometimes more sustainable, many occasions actually, more sustainable solutions are also more expensive. Recycling takes money. Collecting waste takes money. All those solutions are more expensive, and not everyone is prepared to pay for those, because nowhere, actually, whether we are individuals or companies, we don't account very well for the cost of our carbon emissions. And that's a big problem. So in the end, we always discuss about price because that remains the talking point and the decision criterion.
Yeah, and what is important now is to be able to explain what there is behind the price. We have started to launch like a Nutri-Score for the food, but for home, that's called Home Index. It's a score that we calculate on each product based on 40 criteria, either environmental or social, to explain to our consumer the quality, environmental and social quality that there is in the product behind the price, and to help them to choose with consciousness of what they buy. And we hope that it can help our suppliers also to move forward in this kind of solution, and to be able also to explain all the quality there is behind the product and behind the price.
So how do we, and I think it's an important question, we want to, we're here at ChangeNOW, and people who come into a space like this have a level of consciousness already. There's already a level of thinking we need to do better. But at the core of it, there's only so much resources that individuals and companies have access to. How do we better explain buildings in a way that helps people to make better quality decisions as it pertains to the planet? Fabrice, maybe you might want to start with that one.
I think I am personally surprised by how fast society is changing. 4 or 5 years ago, I'm B2B. 4 or 5 years ago, I was visiting customers, owners of hospitals or hotels or office spaces, and I had to bring the topic of sustainability, I had to bring that up, talking about recycled materials and so on. Now, especially since a couple of years, those people, they actually ask us to pitch on that very topic of sustainability. And the reason they don't do that just for good, but I understand also that behind them, there's a whole lot of people who care about it, and especially in the office space, employees care about how the retrofitting or refurbishing projects are being handled. So there is also a pressure from society that I think is probably bigger in commercial than it is in B2C, but it's coming.
It's really nice to hear that, because I think sometimes we can think, oh, my little voice here doesn't make much of a difference. And so it's helpful to hear that it does in these big projects. If what the organization is hearing from their employees and their consumers is, we want to understand what you're doing for planet.
It does.
They're then having different conversations with suppliers like you. Are you seeing, Maria, are you seeing the same sort of thing in terms of the consumer landscape? Are more people coming in asking about the origin of materials and wanting things that are better for the planet as they are doing home renovations? Is it coming from that side as well, from a consumer perspective?
Yes, as I told you, yes, for sure it comes. They express it. They want to have information and transparency about what they buy, and that's why we create this home index. And they don't want to choose between quality and price. And for sure, it's a real matter for us not to make that like an elitist choice, but to make it affordable for everybody. And it's possible. In fact, we really see when we co-invest in some plant with our suppliers, we are able to provide this kind of product. When we propose a product with less material, we are able to make it also affordable, and people want to have this kind of solution now.
So it's possible to make it good for the planet, great quality, and commercially sensible.
For sure.
Do we think, because people will argue there's not enough, you know, we know we have events like this because we're not there yet. There's so much more that we need to do, and we're still pushing too close to planetary boundaries. Arguably, in some cases, we've far exceeded them. What do you think the role, if any, of regulation or legislation should be to accelerate these sorts of choices, so we're making better choices as it pertains to our buildings? Marie, do you think there's a role for legislation?
Yeah, for sure, the role of legislation, either regulation or incentive, is crucial. We are here with a lot of people really engaged in this climate change, but in fact, a lot of companies or people need to have incentive to move forward and to be able also to invest, because as Fabrice said, it costs to organize a new process, and it costs to change the way we are working. So for sure, we need either regulation, but also stability. And we can talk about energetic renovation. Each time we change the rule, we make questions in a technical market for the client, and they are not able to move forward on such a project that can take a lot of months. So we really need now to have a stability and a long vision on the way policies want to support this kind of program.
So we need the policies, but we need stable policies. Fabrice, I could see you nodding your head there.
Yeah, I find it funny, actually, because here we are, Maria and I, we're not heading charities, you know, we head profit-making organizations, and we are here talking about regulation, and we want more regulation. I'm all in with what Marie said. We need more regulation, otherwise there's always the cheaper and less sustainable solution that can undercut us. I have an example to give. You heard, once again, there was a very good slide showing that 30% of waste is generated by construction. It is true. We do a lot of renovation, and the first step of renovation is actually to take out some old material, remove them. What happens with those materials? In most cases in Europe, they are incinerated. 90% is incinerated. Why is that? Is it because there is no solution to recycle them? Absolutely not. There are technical solutions. They are not very expensive. They are feasible technically, but it is cheaper for our customers, the people who renovate, to send them to incineration. And here, there is only one way, actually. At some point, the European communities or member states, need to increase that cost of incineration to make it more interesting for our customers to actually direct those products back to the recycling centers that we all have.
So people need to be incentivized to make the right decision, because I guess the thing that we sometimes forget, companies are profit-bearing. You know, like you said, you're not charities, and renovating a building is not cheap.
It's very expensive.
Sure.
And so there comes a point where when you're looking at the numbers, if there's something that's a little bit more affordable, even if it's not as good, sometimes we're putting great stuff in the building, so maybe we don't think so much about how we got rid of the stuff out of the building, which is not the route that we want to go forward. We've talked a lot about regulation, potential solutions, some of the commercial viability, and often when we think of buildings, I mean, Eleanor alluded to it earlier, these are homes. These are places for people to be in. Beyond climate, what other benefits can be gained from retrofitting, but particularly gained from retrofitting buildings with sustainability in mind? Marie, I'll have you go first.
Yeah, with pleasure. In fact, when we talk about renovation, as you said, we talk about home, and we talk about the place people live and often it's a great place, but sometimes it's not that great. We are working now for 3 years with an association called Stop à l'exclusion énergétique, so stop to energetic exclusion. And we have visited a lot of houses with people in precarity. And in fact, when you are in precarity, you are not able to have heat in your house on the winter. So your family, your children can be ill, have disease. You are not able to receive people at home. So day by day, you are not socialized. For some people, it's a lot of expenses to pay energy, and their purchasing power go lower and lower, and they have to decide between some basic needs like food and to have heat at home. And we really now are conscious that if we help people to refine dignity, to have a solution to renovate their house, they can go further to social life, to health. So it's not only a matter of environment and not only a matter of business, even if for a lot of people it's an opportunity of business too, but it's also a matter of social life and human being, for sure.
I know in the UK each year in winter there's a question about particularly elderly people who are on pensions, are they going to be able to heat their homes? And so I think sometimes we can think of climate purely from the perspective of saving the planet. And there's an element there that you're alluding to, which is, you know, saving the person in the moment. If the way the climate is going, we're either going to be too hot or too cold. And neither of those is great positions for us to be in. Fabrice, I can see you had something to add.
Yeah, I think we are, I am fully in line with what you are saying. And I think on top of that, this adds an element of purpose to your employees, like it does to ours, and like it does to the ones of our customers when we talk about commercial building. I am impressed by more and more people who want to use used carpet tiles or reused carpet tiles or reused furniture, because that's part of the purpose they give to, that is important to their people when they enter in a new office space and open a new headquarters, for example. So that element of purpose, we are doing this for good and for the good of humanity, of the planet. That is also an important element, whether it is just socially or environmentally.
And is there an opportunity B2B to think beyond just, you know, the impact of the person? Because you kind of alluded to a few things there. Is there the opportunity, for example, when we're emptying a building, to make that a social event that is actually having a better impact rather than taking all of these materials out and just disposing of them?
Absolutely, because I mean, lots of the material that we take out of buildings can be reused somewhere else. So, but that is. So we have lots of initiatives that are more local initiatives with the communities, with people who need, but it's not at scale. Let's be honest, it's very difficult to scale to the scale of large companies like ours.
Marie, at Merlin, Leroy Merlin, you also do quite a bit of training. Tell us about this, because if I'm going to go and make changes to my house, doesn't matter what it is, whether it's decorating a wall, it feels like a lot of education. And you're talking about changing heating systems, which is even more complicated. How do you support the general public in making better quality decisions on something that's arguably quite complex?
Yeah, at the beginning we were retailers of products, and when we work with our teams, we really understood that renovating a house is a really stressful journey. It's a lot of questions, and it's a lot of regulations too. So we have decided to train first 3,000 of our employees, so almost 10% of our employees, to help them to understand the problem of the client. Is it a single solution that they need, or a more global renovation? And then we have decided to create a new job, which called Energetic Renovation Advisor. So we have now 96 advisors in all our stores that are trained and certified by La Solive, and we will talk with Ariane just after. She will explain what La Solive do, and it's wonderful. These people are now able, in our stores, to welcome inhabitants, to help them to understand their energetic diagnosis, to understand the aids they can have, and these aids can be national, can be local, can be from association, and also to help them to do all the works in the good order. So it's a unique interlocutor that helps people to have less stress, to have a unique interlocutor to ask questions and to go further the project month by month, because we know that in average it's 8 months of project renovation, and sometimes it could be longer. So it's really important. And last thing, sorry, is these advisors find the good actors in local. Sometimes we need craftsmen. Sometimes we need companies that have a whole solution, are able to sell a product with installation, and as brand and trusted brand, because it's a market that there is a lot of non-trusted people. Yeah. We help inhabitants to be sure to have good suppliers and good installers at home, because that's the place where they live, so they need to have trustful people to come to their house.
So it's a great story for anybody who was thinking of doing a renovation anytime soon. You know exactly where to go to find some more information. We are out of time, but I'm going to sneak in an additional question just really quickly to you, Fabrice. What's one bold prediction that you have for the future of sustainable building materials? The one bold prediction is that there is not going to be one bold solution. It's going to be a lot of different solutions. We saw the fungi actually growing house just before. It's probably part of the solution. Biomaterials are part of the solution. Recycling is part of the solution as well. Reuse. All this is needed because there's so much to do and so much constraints, actually so many constraints, that we need to use all the solutions that are available to be able to really improve the environmental footprint of buildings and cities. Fantastic. And good news to all of you. You're here at ChangeNOW. There's lots of bold solutions for us to take a look at as well. Thank you both so much. It's been Marie and Fabrice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.